Welcome to the Traits of a Champion podcast, a podcast where we will discuss all things about being a champion in life. My name is Kevin Flattmann. I have the privilege of being one of the hosts here for the Traits of a Champion podcast, and I am so excited about this new podcast. Pastor John?
Man, here we go. We're going to launch it and see what happens. Hey, we're very excited about this. Like Kevin said, what we're trying to do and what we hope to be able to do is just have some fun.
That's right.
Because we're really just two guys talking. We don't have all the answers, but hopefully get you to thinking, hopefully get you to stirring. And early on here, really, and what we want to talk about is being a champion and getting wins in life, because everybody can get a win, right?
Everybody can be a winner. And that's exactly what this podcast stems from. The whole goal of this podcast is to encourage, equip, to challenge, to motivate everyone and anyone to be a champion. Let me ask you this question, though. Where did this come from? You know, we have the Traits of a Champion. We're jumping into the brand new podcast. You just launched a book. We can talk about that in just a second. But where did the Traits of a Champion come from?
Well, I'm fascinated, like I think most people in the culture are, with winning. We have a culture that downplays winning, but we also have a fascination with it. We love our Olympians, right?
No doubt.
We love our football team, and nobody wants a losing football team. We want winners. But we also love to see people in business winning. And so I've always had a fascination with winning and was raised to win, go for the win, played in high school and was better in high school in my mind than I actually was. In sports.
Won a state championship.
Well, I did, but and I think they should rename the stadium after me, but they haven't. But the bottom line is that I was asked by a coach, a good friend of mine named Rick Jones, and Rick has been the National Coach of the Year a couple of times in Greenwood, Arkansas. At the time, he was in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. I'd met him and known him. He'd coached at Del City, Oklahoma, Edmond, Oklahoma. So we'd had similar ground, we'd stomping grounds. And he'd asked me to speak to his team in Broken Arrow. Every Thursday night we did a team dinner, and I was kind of the unofficial guy on the team that just helped and encouraged. And he asked me to teach them and to show his students and his athletes what it meant to be winners and what it meant to truly be champions in life. Now, I knew what it meant to be a champion. I knew that that ultimately it's about your eternal destiny, and ultimately about knowing Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior.
Yeah.
But for him, it was to talk to these student athletes about, there are common traits that people have in being champions. Everyone listening out there, people are not born champions. Let's just throw that out. Get rid of it. That's garbage. People work. They strive to be champions. And so I took a look at what made champions. I looked at athletes. I looked at business leaders. I looked at people in our field, in the ministry. But then I cross-referenced, and I said, I want to make sure that for us, the very, very important thing is the Word of God and the Bible. So I wanted to make sure it stood the Bible, because the Bible has withstood the toughest test of all, the test of time.
That's right.
And so I came up with 5 common traits that champions possess. And I think if anybody can start picking up and even doing one of them, I think they'll start getting some wins. But much less doing all 5, they might even become a champion in whatever area of their life that they're shooting for.
That's exactly right. And so that just brings me to our topic for today, just jumping straight into this. We don't want to waste people's time around here, but we want to jump straight into this. And our topic for today is the topic of winning. What a great topic. I mean, you think about the traits of a champion. Yes, there's 5 traits of a champion that you've talked about, you've wrote about. But not only that, these traits, the one thing I love, I've known you for a long time. Many of our listeners may not know this, but I happen to marry the prettiest girl in the world, and it happens to be your daughter. And so
married way above your head.
I did. And so that was a win for me in my life in and of itself.
Yeah.
But as we talk about this, I want people to know and understand that this is not just something you came up with and you taught to other people. I've known you long enough, and people that do know you well enough to know that these are just principles and things that you try to live every single day of your life by being these things. And listen, we have to just go ahead and start and just get the cat out of the bag here and say that not everybody's going to win at everything. No. Not everybody is. There are winners and there are losers in life. I'll never forget having a conversation with a coach a long time ago when I was in high school, and I was actually going up for a state championship in all things the javelin, right? Yeah. And he looked at me and said, "Kevin, here's the reality. This is just true about sports, and it's true about life. There's winners and there's losers. There's no in between.
Nothing in between.
You address this in your book, and you talk about that in between, and you talk about this thing called participation trophies.
Right.
Let's talk about that in our culture.
Yeah, and I thank you. That when you talk about winners and losers, it's not that winners don't lose. Winners lose. They just don't stay in losing.
That's right. They don't stay in the loss.
They learn from it, and we talk about that extensively. We're going to talk about that in a couple podcasts. Because it's so important you understand everybody loses.
That's right.
The biggest problem in culture is not winners and losers. It's the middle ground that everybody just wants to participate. I mean, we get a participation trophy for everything. And look, I'm all for participation trophies in Little League and T-ball. I think every kid that goes out, every boy, every girl that goes out at the end of the season, have a pizza party and give them all a trophy.
That's right.
The problem is whenever we get older in life, we still want a participation trophy. When it comes to our marriage, Kevin, people just want a participation trophy.
Yeah.
When it comes to our work, just give me a participation trophy. And then we get the end of it, and then we look and go, I'm not satisfied with that. Why aren't they giving me more? Why not more? Because you haven't strived for anything more than that. And so the whole idea of traits of a champion is, first of all, setting your mind to say, hey, I want to win. And let me tell a quick story. So one of the things that I'm afraid we do, this is kind of in your face to people listening, but it gets in my face, is we settle for such a low standard. So I'm watching ESPN, I'm watching a draft of NFL draft. It's one of those that the one I'm not going to say the kid's name. I don't know. I'm not going to throw him into. Hopefully he's gotten some help, but he was going to be a first round draft pick, and really one of the top probably 10 to 15 draft picks. He was an edge guy, motor, unbelievable. The problem is he goes to the combine and he fails a weed test, which is beyond just dumb for the kid, because it cost him millions and millions and millions of dollars. The ESPN analyst says this. He was talking about that situation, and he said, the problem with you young people today, and I want all of you to hear me out there, he said, is I'm here to tell you, you don't have to be good, just don't be bad.
Golly.
And I thought, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. What a ridiculously, all right, Kevin, you don't have to be good at marriage, just don't be bad. You don't have to be good at your job, just don't be bad. You don't have to be good at just being a human being, just don't be bad.
That's the standard.
That's a low standard, man. We can do better than that. God has called us to be better than that. And listen to that. And if we'll set our minds, we can go better. And I think it's important to people listening that it starts by just saying, you know what? I do want to win. I want to go further in this.
And that it answers that first question that I wanted to talk about today of what makes a winner. It's a mindset. To be a winner, it's a mindset. The Bible tells us that we are to run the race. To run the race just to finish the race? No. We are to run the race to win the race. There's a distinct difference between someone who wins at this thing called life and someone who loses at this thing called life. Yes, you get into the conversation of where you're going to spend eternity. We know that that's the ultimate win, but there's just some practicality for those that are listening that may not have a relationship with Christ or may not even be a Christian at all. There are ways that you can get a win, and it is a mind game.
Mindset. And let me just jump in and say there that if you're watching and you're not, religious or that's just not your thing. Hey, listen, I think you're still going to get tremendous value out of this podcast.
That's exactly right.
Look, let's let the cat out of the bag. We're two preachers, okay? And we don't claim to know much about anything except the fact that I'm telling you, we're passionate about winning. And we're passionate about helping other people win. I'd rather other people win than myself win. I get a greater thrill out of watching and helping other people win than I do winning myself. So if you're not into spiritual or religious things, hey, that's okay. Hey, I would just tell you, give us a shot. Let's see. I think you'll still get some value out of it. And let's see. You might even find some value in religion. You might even find some value in some of the things we're talking about in the biblical principles that we use.
That's exactly right. And I do think about it from our perspective of being a Christian is that everything for us bursts out of being a Christian. And, it's in my heart that then goes to my mind and it transforms my mindset. The Bible says to be transformed by the renewing of our minds.
That's right. And
so we are to have a mindset to win. And this participation trophy mindset
hard to
is
say too.
It's hard to say. It's hard. It's this get by mentality. And what we're saying is that culture is taught everyone to just get by in life. Man, no, we're to be the best. We're to win, and not at all costs, though. We're not to win at all cost, and for the sake of we're to win for the sake of people and for bettering ourselves. Obviously, the second thing that what makes a winner is, I would also say, it's passion. Is having a passion about what you're doing and finding that passion. We talk a lot, you and I privately talk about having a sweet spot and finding your sweet spot. And I think there's some things that in our life that we should have a sweet spot in. Our marriage should be our sweet spot. Our careers should be our sweet spot. So those are our sweet spots that we've got to find and make sure that we're leaning into our passions and being a champion in those things. What else would you say?
Well, you're exactly right. I mean, first of all, you've got to determine, you got to have a mindset. You got to, we'll talk in a couple of podcasts about having a can-do mind, a can-do that says, I can do. But you've got to start with a mindset that says, you know what, I do want some wins. I'm tired of losing, or I'm tired of just getting by. So set your mind to it. And then you have to then sit down and say, okay, what is it that I'm passionate about winning at? What is it that really, at the end of the day, because you look, if you have too many goals, you're never going to get there. You've got to narrow it down and say, what do I want to be great at? And then what you'll find is you'll become great in other things, but you better have a focus, and it starts with your passion. So, Kevin, for me, I'm passionate about my walk with God. I'm passionate about my marriage to my wife. I'm passionate about my kids. Kevin's married to my wife. I have a son that's married, Sarah. They're expecting my third grandchild. I'm not just, I don't want to just participate. I don't want to lose. I want to win at that. I'm passionate about that.
That's right.
I want to win at my job as a pastor of what people would call a large church. I want to win at that. I want to win at loving people and ministering to people. I want to love at being a good friend. I want to win at that. I'm passionate about that. So my mind says, if I'm going to win, I got to first say, I want to win. I'm going to set my mind to winning. Then I'm going to say, all right, what do I want to win at? And start with your passion.
You say
passion will lead you.
You say something all the time, and I've been around you long enough. I learned this at a previous job that I was at, just talking about excellence and those things. But when it comes to what makes a winner, it's your mindset, it's your passion, but it's also your execution. I'll never forget this story of Nick Saban. In fact, Lane Kiffin is the one who actually tells this story. They won the national championship. We know that Lane Kiffin was on his staff, and they win the national championship that next Tuesday. So now championship was on a Monday. That next Tuesday, they go in. Nick Saban calls an all-staff meeting and go over all the mistakes, the things that they did not execute well in. And so a champion, what makes a champion is their mindset, their passion, and their execution. Inspect what you expect. And so I think that comes down to in our personal lives too, but it comes down to every area of our life of making sure that we're executing these things really, really well in our life. So let me jump to this real quick. Is I think you also have to set the bar for yourself when it comes to making and becoming a winner in life. You have had some significant, influential men in your life that have helped you set the bar in your life. I know I have had those men. Ultimately for us as Christians, we know that our greatest standard is the Lord Jesus Christ. He sets the standard of perfection, but we're not going to always in fact, never reach that standard of perfection. But we do have men in our life that help us get better and become champions. What would you say when it comes to setting that standard, setting that bar? You talked about that briefly, but expound a little bit on that.
It starts with learning from other people, the influence. I want to be a tremendous influencer in people's lives. And I look at the people who influenced my lives the most to win. And quite frankly, my dad was a great motivator. My dad was a great example. I just didn't grow up in a church going home and all that. We just didn't do that. My parents just were good people. They loved us. They just didn't do that. That's not something we did. But what my dad did teach me how to do was to outwork anybody. We worked, and my dad made sure that, we knew how to work. And he taught me that. And then I have to get into coaches. Man, I had so many coaches influence my life. Coach Steve Dunlap, incredible man. in 8th and 9th grade, and you think 8th, all those are critical years, man. And I can still remember Coach D and the influence that he had on my life, and so many other people. He was a life influencer, and a true champion in every sense of the word, and challenged us to be champions. Then I had just great men in my life. A guy named Gary Lauer, Gary Baxter, Gary Miller, all Garys.
Yeah.
But they were men who I saw as champions in their field, but also in their homes with people. And they had incredibly strong mindsets, and they were passionate about it. And then they just flat got after it. And they were great examples for me.
And I've had similar guys in my life. Obviously, my dad, my dad, and is a great man. You in my life have impacted my life. But I do go back and I think about those men who've impacted my life and who have literally set the bar for me and said, Kevin, here's the bar of what being a champion and winning looks like in life. Meet this standard. If you can't meet the Lord Jesus standard, he's perfect. Follow me, because I'll teach you how to do these things. And I think if you're going to start becoming that winner and being a winner, you've got to set a standard for yourself and follow through with that standard. Our culture says this, and man, this makes me so angry, but our culture says, be you, just be you, be satisfied with being you. I'll never forget someone looking at me and saying, no, Kevin, don't be you. Don't be you. You left alone by yourself is never a good thing. Get some people in your life, help you set the standard to be better and become a winner in your life. So let's ask this question. How does someone that's listening to this podcast, how do we begin winning?
Well, again, it starts with a mindset, and it starts with the idea that I'm going to find out what I'm passionate about. What do I passionately want to win at? And so what I do is I decide what I want to win at. So I'm going to decide that. I've already gone over this, but I think it's important for you, if you're listening and tuning in, and thank you for that. But listen, you've got to walk away from this and say, all right, what am I going to do? What am I going to do to win? I've got the mindset. I'm going to win. Then I have a passion. But let me tell you what you do. You're going to sit down and you're going to write down what it is you want to win at. Literally, write down some things that you want to do and that you want to win at. You remember I was working with 20-something, about 22 young men in the area that were going to play, most of them college football. Most of them did. They went Division I. A couple of them are in the pros now. Division II. We had some Division III guys.
One went to our rival, Oklahoma State.
Yeah, one went to Oklahoma State.
Fans, that was fun. He went to Oklahoma State.
My son was one of them, and he went and played college ball. He was a quarterback. And we sat down with them, and we talked with them. We met with them once a month, and I brought in all kinds of champions in front of them. And each one of them challenged them and talked to them about what does the champion do, the traits of a champion. But we started with that first night, we gave them a journal. And we said, we're not doing anything else tonight but introductions. And by the way, we gave them all a real nice shirt. They had to dress a certain way every time we went somewhere. They represented our Champions Network logo. And so we made them look sharp, be sharp. And so we made them sit down, and after we gave them their journal, because they had to take notes every time we took them someplace. And we made them sit down and literally write down, what is it that you want to win at? So I would say, after you turn this off, pause it right now, do whatever you want to do, and decide right now, what is it you want to win at? Is it your marriage? Okay, write that down. Say, I'm gonna win at my marriage. I'm gonna win at my job. I'm gonna win at physical training. Man, there's nothing wrong with these things. I want to win at some things in my life, and I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write down a handful, not too many. If you have a full page, don't start there. Look, good. You're a go-getter. Good, but don't start there. Start with about 5. Give yourself 5 things that you want to win at. So decide right now, today, what is it you want to win at?
Man, I'll never forget sitting around family dinner at your house. This was in 2019, 2020, going into COVID.
Yeah.
And real honestly, we had nothing to do. The world was shut down, literally. I mean, we were in Dallas, Texas when COVID hit. We made it home barely, and then the world shut down. I'll never forget driving home that night and you telling us, guys, this is going to blow over in a week or so. It's not going to be that big of a deal. Well, we go into COVID and the world literally shuts down. You are sitting down at the table with me, all of our family, and you said this statement. You said, you know what? During this time, we're going to set some goals, some realistic goals. We're not going to get bitter. We're going to get what? Better. We're going to get better. And what did you do?
Well, so the mindset of a champion says this, and our competition is not always with other people. Sometimes the competition's right here.
Hardest person to lead is yourself.
Yeah, and it's you walk into the mirror and go, okay, that's my biggest competition today. And the rest of the world was calling a timeout. And quite frankly, I think the rest of the world was going to take a step back. And I just looked at my family and said, look, we can either just pause life, or we can even take a step back in life, or we can make a conscious decision and say, no, I'm going to get better. I'm going to use COVID to get better. Quite frankly, I was overweight. My health wasn't good, not just COVID. And COVID made you realize that, wait a minute, there's some, here's all the groups of people who are in danger.
Yeah.
And I was hitting a couple of those, man, overweight, pre-diabetic, all those things. And so I just said, you know what? I'm gonna do something about it. I'm gonna get out and I'm gonna fix my life physically, and I'm gonna use COVID to do it. I'm gonna read everybody else's Netflix, binge watching. No, I'm gonna read. I'm gonna get better. Now, there's nothing wrong. I binge watched on a couple of Netflix things.
There's only a certain amount of time during the day you can run.
You can only run and you can only read so much. No, I'm kidding. But I made a mindset that I'm going to decide what I'm going to win at, and I took COVID and said, you know what, I'm going to be passionate about that. And then
we ended up running a half marathon, which was a big deal.
Well, listen, I'm made to carry things, not to run.
I think that's so key, and I'll never forget this. I was in my senior year of high school, going into my early college years. And my dad, I was working for my dad at John Deere and working for him. And my dad, working for your family, that's tough in and of itself. Obviously, I do that now, but I learned a lot then. And my dad, I was sitting at my desk looking at the computer, and it was a slow day. Traffic, no people were walking in to buy equipment, anything like that. And, so I'm just sitting at my desk, just clicking away, if you will. And my dad walks in, who, by the way, is 6'7", big man, and I didn't get those jeans, and he came in and he goes, "Hey, what you doing?" And I said, "Oh, just finishing up for the day. It's about 3 o'clock. Still got a couple more hours, but not much." And he just turned around and walked off. And I was like, "Okay, that was awkward. That was weird." Well, about 3 or 4 minutes go by, and he comes back and he sets down a roll of paper towels and some glass cleaner. I'm a salesman now. I'm thinking I'm not the intern. I'm not that level anymore. I'm a salesman, for crying out loud. And he said, "Hey, all these windows around here need to be cleaned. They need to be cleaned." And he literally told me this. He said, "Son, no matter what you do in life and in job, make sure you set goals." And he said this to me. He said, "But always go the extra mile. Always go the extra mile. There's always something to be done." And I thought that to be so true in life and in everything that we do, is that we need to go the extra mile. And that's what a champion does. One of the things you said is that when it comes to being a winner, is you said you got to have a plan and get an action plan. And I think that's honestly what's separating some people from going from a loser to a winner in life right now, is they just don't have a plan. You got to write it down.
And that Kevin, it's setting down and determine what you're really good at and what you want to win at, what you're passionate about, and say, I'm going to get better at these things. And notice I said good, because really you're going to be passionate about what you're good at. But sometimes it's maybe setting something you're not good at that you've got to do. So I want to just challenge our listeners. Again, hey, thank y'all for tuning in for the first one, man. This is awesome. This is such a privilege for us. And listen, you've got to determine what you want to win at. And if you hear nothing else I say, will you please hear me for just a second? You can win. Your marriage, you can win. Your parenting, your family, your job, your life, you can win at that. And it is going to take some effort. It is going to take going the extra mile. Hey, that's a biblical principle. Hey, if someone asks you to go 1 mile, go 2 miles. Man, 2 miles is always better. Do one more. The old adage is do one more. Most people are going to take the shortcut and do one less. Do one more, it'll put you two ahead of everybody else.
That's right.
And it just takes effort. And so I want to just challenge you out there to sit down. What are you good at? What do you want to be good at? What do you want to be great at? And set your mindset and go for it. That's such a big deal. It's really a mindset. And then write it down. And then come up with an action plan. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run. I'm going to read. I'm going to set to be better in that. If it's my marriage, I'm going to text my wife. I'm going to love her a certain way. I'm going to find out what is it that she needs and how she wants to be loved. In parenting, I'm going to read and find out, look at other parents. What are they doing so well? I want to know. I want to be better at this. And then I'm going to get after it, and I'm going to set my mind to say, you know what? I'm going to be a champion at this. So I want to challenge our folks. You can do this. I'm telling you can do this. And we're going to give you some step-by-step, some real practical stuff that you can do. But first of all, let it start with your mind. Doggone it, I can win. Go for it.
That's right. And I'm so excited about this podcast because we're going to have opportunities week in and every so often when we launch these podcasts and have different episodes where we just dive in a little bit deeper in different subjects about being a champion. And so that brings me to our last segment, next segment, two preachers talking, because that's exactly what we are. We both are just two preachers that love to talk all different kinds of things. And if we would be making a massive mistake if we skipped by and did not talk about the next thing that's on everybody's radar.
Should be.
And it should be, by the way.
Should be.
It should be on everybody's radar. It should be something that you're talking about in your homes, at the office, or wherever, which is college football is officially here.
Let's go.
It's here. It's here. I'm so excited about it. I can't see straight. I think about it, can't wait.
It's been too long. Let's get this out of the way. Last year was so tough for me. I'm clearly an Oklahoma Sooner fan. Sooner born, Sooner bred. When I die, I'll be Sooner dead.
That's right.
Just Boomer Sooner, have been my whole life. And last year was just tough, man. There's no way around it. It was ugly with a capital U, and it was tough. But I'm excited about this year. I'm excited not just about my Sooners. I'm excited about all things college football. Love the summer. Man, I've gotten into tennis. Love Scotty Scheffler. Oh, that guy's awesome. But can we all agree it's time for college football? Let's go.
It's time for college football. And if you're wondering, watching this or listening to this, where do I fall? Born and raised in Louisiana. But you got to understand, I married my wife from Oklahoma. They're fully Sooner fans. And so you told me when I went and asked for Megan's hand in marriage, if A, was I a Christian? And secondly, would you support the Sooners? So that is why I'm a Sooner fan.
You better believe it.
Right there. And so I'm
it.
a smart man, a very blessed man. So I am a Sooner fan, and I'm so excited about college football. The big question right now, though, is this, and it's up for a lot of debate right now, which is who's going to win the national championship?
Well, look, this is why it's two preachers talking. We think we're experts at many things, but the truth is we're experts at none, especially college football.
That's
We're
right.
just passionate fans. I love college football. I don't like where we're at right now. I don't like the NIL. I don't like the transfer portal. I think it's doing more damage than good. I think it's ultimately going to hurt these kids than helping them. Instead of striving to be a champion or be better, I can just get in the portal and get out. I don't like that.
A lack of commitment.
But it is what it is. And because of that, I don't think you can there's so much change, so much turnover in, let's call it what it is, it's free agency, that I mean, in the past, several years ago, clearly Georgia was the best team. Everybody going in the year was like, beat Georgia, beat Alabama. I think even to an extent last year, you're going to have to beat about 2 or 3 teams in Ohio State. And then this year, listen, who is it?
No one knows.
I mean, you try to narrow it down to 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4. I don't know that you can. I like, if you're going to narrow me down, I'm going to give you 5 teams that I think can do it. Let me go with Clemson. I think Dabo's the real deal. I think his quarterback's the real. I think it comes down to quarterback play and good defense. He's got all of that. I think LSU, for those reasons, has the same thing.
As much as
pains
you to say
in
that,
the state
right?
of Louisiana. Most of my people are diehard LSU Tiger fans. They love me in spite of that I'm not. And I love them in spite of that they are. But no, LSU is as good a shot as anybody. You have to talk about Ohio State. Maybe they still new quarterbacks scare me. I like Penn State. Everybody says the coach, he can't win the big one. I know, I agree. He's got to prove himself. But man, they've got the returning team. Mm-hmm. Notre Dame does. We haven't even talked about Alabama and Georgia yet, who are going to be in the mix just because they're Alabama and Georgia, and they're recruiting.
Right.
And for Georgia for their coach, Alabama's still unproven. But let's be real honest. He's a great coach.
Yeah, he's a fabulous coach.
Now, look, he's not Nick Saban. Good luck following Nick Saban. I'd rather follow a dud than a stud, and he followed the GOAT.
Legend, yeah.
Yeah, he followed the GOAT. So it's nowhere but down for that deal. I think he's a great coach. So that's a lot of talk to just dance around the issue that at the end of the day, with my head, I don't know, with my heart, Oklahoma wins a national championship.
You just proclaimed it out loud, didn't you? Man, that's what I am with my heart, and I'm obviously love the Sooners and follow the Sooners religiously. But man, I hope that they win it. Want them to win it. But I do think it's going to come down to quarterback play and defense. One team you did not mention is the team that no one wants to talk about, especially in this room, is Texas. I mean, Arch Manning is fabulous, and he's a good quarterback. And one thing about Arch Manning is a very humble guy, very, very humble. And I'm just excited to see who's going to win the national championship. At the end of the day, I'm just excited that I got my Saturdays back and I can watch some college football.
Well, in Texas for the other things, and look, my favorite team's Oklahoma. My second favorite team is whoever's playing Texas.
That's right.
But look, let's be honest. He's a great coach. I don't agree with many things, but Arch Manning, I love the kid because he's unproven, and he looks at everybody and says, I haven't proven anything yet. He's said those words.
That's right.
And I love to me, that gives me more confidence in him than anything. They've got athletes all over the field.
They do.
If you really pin me down with my head to pick a team to win it, I wouldn't say Texas because my heart would overrule it and wouldn't allow it. But they've got as good a chance as anybody.
They do.
And if you made me pick three, I'd go Clemson, LSU. I'm not going to say it. The other team.
That other team, yeah. And LSU does have a good shot at it. They've got a great quarterback. He just got named yesterday, got the number 18 jersey, which we know that's a big deal in LSU rule.
Yes, first time quarterback in a long time.
Has gotten it for a long since I forgot his name. But anyways, since a long time. But reality is college football's back.
Let's go.
This is just two preachers talking about something that we love, which is college football. And, man, I just want to say thank you to everybody that's tuned in to the Traits of a Champion podcast. We are so excited to jump on here and talk about all things about being a champion. Just remember a couple of things. First of all, you can buy the Traits of a Champion book. All you have to do is just simply email traitsofachampion@yahoo.com, and you can get that book. Of course, you can grab it on Amazon and anywhere books are sold. And we are so excited about that. And then, of course, make sure that you follow us, like us, share us on all social media platforms. Hey, this week, make sure you go get some wins and go be great this week.
Let's go.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the Traits of a Champion podcast, helping you pursue the wins in life. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to hit subscribe. You can also follow along with us on Facebook, Instagram, or watch our episodes on YouTube.